This Brewers Cup Series is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Stop number 2 of this 3-city tour for the Brew Crew. Having won 2 in Kansas City, it's on to Chicago for a 4-game set with Joe Maddon's Chicago Cubs. And the Brewers continue to roll. 3 things you want to know going into this series. This current Milwaukee winning streak, the best since late June, early July of 2015. The Brew Crew has traveled well, 8 wins and 11 games away from Miller Park. And when Chase Anderson's on the mound, the result is generally a good one. Brewers have won 4 times in his 5 starts so far this season. As for the Chicago Cubs, they haven't had a big streak one way or the other. They're playing a little better of late, though. They've won 4 of their last 6. Of course, this season earlier, the first homestand for Milwaukee, the Brewers dropped 3 out of 4 to the Cubs, and Kyle Hendricks, who's been one of the best pitchers in the game, really just so-so against the Milwaukee Brewers. Good evening from inside Wrigley Field. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minert is our reporter. Well, Rock, this has been a great home field for the Cubs, especially in recent years, but it hasn't been a bad road stop for the Brew Crew. They have proven, maybe to themselves, most importantly, they can hang with these guys, and they have done that well here in recent games.
Yeah, the visitors have really dominated this series, Brewers and Cubs. Cubs played well at Miller Park last year. As you mentioned, took 3 of 4. The Brewers 6-3 last year. They won their last 4 here at Wrigley, and they've been swinging the bats. You know what? They've been doing basically what they've been doing on this 8-game winning streak, playing good, solid defense. Look at the earned run average. The starters, outstanding work. The bullpen for the Brewers right now has been good all season long, but they were particularly good last 4 at Wrigley Field. You know, going back to last year, runners in scoring position, that's going to be a key. You're not always going to hit the big home runs against some of these good pitchers, but you know, the Brewers right now playing about as good as they can possibly play, and right now you got to have to do that against the Cubs.
All right, the Brewers jump back into National League Central Division opposition. New series as the Brewers want to continue the winning streak. First of 4 coming up against the Cubs. Lineups and first pitch coming up right here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Not a bad night here by the Big Lake. 57 degrees, cloudy sky. We will stay dry tonight as the Brewers and the Chicago Cubs open up this 4-game series. Already a pair of 4-game series between these two Central Division rivals. Craig Counsell bringing his team to town, having won 8 in a row. Longest winning streak for the Brewers since 2015. Let's check out the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich, and Ryan Braun at the top. Shaw, Santana, VR in the middle. Arcia, Jet Bandy behind the plate. Chase Anderson will round out the Milwaukee batting order against the Cubs right-hander Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, making his 5th start. Kind of a higher end run average for Kyle Hendricks, over 4. He did win his last start. That was against Colorado. 5 innings, 3 runs. He's had some home run problems this year. Very unusual for him.
He has given up 5 of them in his first 4 outings. He starts Cain with ball 1 as we get underway at Wrigley Field. Once again, the Cain-Yelich combo and Braun to follow. You'll notice in those lineups, or the lineup we gave you for the Brewers, Braun playing first base here tonight. The Brewers have been doing, as we mentioned, pretty much everything well. They've been hitting well. They've been moving the line. They've been hitting with power. They've tightened things up defensively, and the pitching has just been terrific. As Hendricks evens the count now, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lorenzo Cain. Kyle Hendricks, that great year for him 2 years ago, and helping the Cubs to the World Series. There's a little chopper back to Hendricks, and that'll be out number 1.
Well, let's check out the defense for the Cubs. They're near the bottom of the league in total defense. They've committed 18 errors. They haven't played that many games, 21 games. You got Schwarber, Almora, and Haywood in the outfield. Listella, Russell, Javier Baez swinging the bat well, but he's committed 5 errors already this year. Anthony Rizzo back in the lineup, and Victor Caratini behind home plate. Wilson Contreras getting this one off.
Here is Christian Yelich. His top 2 hitters in the Brewers batting order entering this game with an on-base percentage of 400 plus. Cain was 400. Yelich at 424. And you see the OPS number for Yelich. Very impressive. As the Brewers getting that productivity at the top of the order. And they took advantage of the portion of their schedule where they played badly struggling teams. You still have to beat them. And the Brewers did, with the one exception here of late, the opener of the homestand last week against Cincinnati. But since then, the Brewers have reeled off 8 in a row. A ball, 2 strikes to Yelich. So Craig Counsell, his club, hitting on all cylinders, and will need to do more of the same against a Cubs team that comes in 11-10. Mentioned the Brewers winning streak. The Cubs haven't had much of a streak one way or the other. They haven't played a lot of home games either. This is home game number 8 for Chicago. There's a tapper back to Hendricks. It'll be 2 up and 2 down to get the game started.
Well, they've only played 21 games. They have 5 postponements, and they have 4 of those to make up as the season goes on.
Well, here's Ryan Braun, and he has been heating up of late. He has hit safely in 6 of his last 7 games. The run production is back. A couple of home runs. Before that little stretch here, he was hitting a .176. But this hot streak has that average now at better than 260, and he is driving in runs.
And just seeing the baseball much better, not chasing out of the strike zone as much as he was early in the year. He's staying back and driving the baseball to right center.
I say this a lot about Ryan Braun. He hits well against just about anyone, anywhere. He has put up some pretty lofty numbers through the years at Wrigley Field. See if he can carry that into this long weekend. There you see the company that Braun is keeping. And there's a shot hit back into deep left field. Kyle Schwarber will have to play that off the wall. And in fact, it gets by him. Almora will back him up, and Ryan Braun has himself a 2-out double as he stings one off the wall.
Yeah, change up in his eyes, and he's able to get on top of it, rip it off the wall and left. Had a little top spin on it, or that one might have gotten out of here. Yeah, Hendricks has a very good changeup. He doesn't throw hard. But watch Ryan Braun. He gets on top of that fastball, and it's sinking as it gets out to left field.
So Braun, the runner at second with 2 outs, setting up Travis Shaw. He's been another hot hitter, and he has had some success against Kyle Hendricks. He's homered against him 3 times in 15 at-bats. Shaw also heating up. There's 14 RBIs, right behind Ryan Braun for the club lead, and there's a fly ball hit back into center field. Room for Almora Jr., and that'll do it for the Brewers here in the first inning. They get a 2-out double from Braun, and that's it as we move to the bottom of the first at Wrigley Field. Their first crack at it. Let's check out the Cubs lineup presented by Potawatomi. Albert Almora Jr. leads things off, followed by Kyle Schwarber and Javier Baez. Anthony Rizzo hits cleanup, followed by Tommy LaStella. The switch hitting catcher Victor Caratini will hit 6th. Addison Russell, Jason Hayward, and Kyle Hendricks rounding out the Cubs batting order against Chase Anderson.
Well, the Brewers are 4-1 with Chase out on the mound. His only loss came to the hands of the Cubs. It was a 3-0 loss. Yeah, Chase pitched well, 2 runs, 6 innings.
Anderson with winning decisions each of his last 2 starts against the Mets in New York on the 14th and against the Miami Marlins 5 days later. 1-1 pitch to Albert Almora.
And Chase won his last start against Miami at home, 5 1/3, 5 hits, 3 runs. Gave up a couple of home runs, both of them to Lewis Brinson.
1-2 pitch to the Cubs center fielder. A little chopper foul up along the line.
Going to see a lot of changeups tonight between Chase Anderson and Kyle Hendricks. Neither one of them throw very hard. Chase top out about 93 perhaps. Kyle Hendricks upper 80s. But changeups very good for both of them.
Chase, the opening day starter for the Brew Crew. 6 shutout innings against the Padres on opening day. Road start number 3, and the first 2 have been terrific as Almora loses his bat.
Good job by Schwarber to get out of the way. That went right over his head, it seemed like. Look out.
There's your wake-up call.
Hey, good thing the net's there.
1-2 pitch again. Almora settling into that leadoff spot for Chicago. Ian Happ had the role in the first several games of the season. Almora comes into this one riding an 8-game hitting streak. Has to duck out of the way, and a full count now to Albert Almora Jr., followed by Schwarber and Javier Baez. And now the 3-2 pitch, and a walk to begin the bottom of the first inning.
Well, the defense for the Brewers has been very good in the last 8 games. 8-game winning streak. They've committed only 4 errors. And no real changes. You got Yelich, Kane, Santana in the outfield. Shaw, Arcia, Villa. Ryan Braun gets a start at first base. Remember, Thames is on the DL. So Ryan at first base and Jet Bandy behind home plate.
There you see Ronnie over at first. And Kyle Schwarber at the plate. Schwarber having a pretty good first month of the season. Tries to lock back in after a tough year last year. Had power, but the batting average very low. And you guys talked about it, I'm sure, quite a bit in the series at Miller Park. There's considerably less of Kyle Schwarber.
Right. Well, he's done a lot of this damage lately because when he was at Miller Park, he was having a tough time. A lot of strikeouts. But seeing the baseball much better right now.
Schwarber last year hit 30 homers, but had just a .211 batting average. Very high strikeout rate, more than 30% of the time. He's one of the stars of their World Series championship team 2 years ago after missing practically all of the regular season with the knee injury. Came back in time to DH against the Indians in the World Series and went a long way in helping his team. A ball, a strike. Good fastball there, and Schwarber down to the count, 1-2.
Yeah, change-ups away, fastballs in for Chase. He will turn the ball over every now and again with the 2-seamer. Curveball, a big pitch for him.
One and two the count to the left fielder for the Cubs. Schwarber's one of many in the lineup that the Cubs can run out there every day who are not just first-round draft picks, but top 10 overall draft picks. In the case of Schwarber, he was the 4th overall. And they have had some very good fortune with those high draft picks. The years where they just weren't a very good team and had a chance to draft early, and they took advantage of it. Not every team does. They did.
Didn't miss on them, did they?
They did not.
Yeah.
And then Joe Madden into the fold, and it all came together. Brewers, they proved last year that they could go toe-to-toe with them, especially in this ballpark. We all know this division runs through Chicago.
All right, good pitch. That's that 4-seam fastball in on the left-hander. It didn't miss by much.
Two balls, two strikes. Leadoff walk to Albert Almora Jr. Now the 2-2. Popped him up. Travis Shaw in foul territory. Out number 1.
Well, let's check out our pizza range for the win here tonight. Well, the Brewers have some streaks going. They won 8 in a row, and they've also won 4 in a row here at Wrigley Field, playing some very good baseball. That dates back to last year, of course. 6-3 overall last year. Got to play clean baseball. You can't give them extra outs. They've committed only 4 errors in the last 8 games, in which they've won every one of them, and 3 of those errors came in one game. And no Chris Bryant. He's missing his 3rd game in a row, and that's big because Anderson has had trouble with him. He's allowed 3 home runs to Bryant in his career.
And Bryant was hit in the head by a pitch last Sunday against the Colorado Rockies. Juan Marquez with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball that got Bryant in the helmet. He's passing all the tests, going through concussion protocol, but as you can understand, they're going to play it safe with this guy. It's a very scary moment.
And make sure he's 100%. You might lose him for an extended period of time. In the meantime, Javier Baez is picking up the slack. This guy's been on a roll.
Yeah, he has. The first couple of weeks for him were not particularly good. In fact, he was hitting about $190. But he has hit safely in his last 8 games at a very high clip, showing power. 3 homers, has driven in 14 in that 8-game hitting streak. He's a league leading 24 RBIs, does Javier Baez.
And Baez was hitting 8th in the series at Miller Park, all the way up to the 3 spot right now.
He's homered 7 times here in this first month. And Anderson ahead of the count, 2 strikes and nothing. He's 25 years old, another one of the top 10 picks the Cubs made like 7 years ago.
Cubs aren't a team that runs a whole lot. Dead last in the National League in stolen bases.
Almora has not so much as attempted a steal yet this year.
Cubs only have 4.
Two strikes and nothing to Baez with Anthony Rizzo on deck. In the air to right field. Santana will have room. That's the second out of the inning.
Every time he hits one in the air, Cub fans go nuts.
They do. He's
routine fly to right.
What happens when a hot hitter comes to the plate? Well, 2 outs to the first for Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo already this season has spent some time on the disabled list. Had some back tightness that he dealt with earlier in the month. And you just figured those numbers are going to climb. He's a terrific hitter. A guy who in each of the last 2 years has hit 32 homers and has driven in 109.
And has gotten off to a start just like this year. Some guys are like that. I mean, year after year, slow starts. But they end up putting up the numbers. Rizzo is one of them.
Like so many teams, the Cubs have played in very frigid weather. Rock mentioned the postponements they've dealt with already. As the temperature climbs, so will those statistics for Anthony Rizzo. The ball, the strike. Anderson allowed a leadoff walk to Almora. Pop up from Schwarber, a fly ball from Baez. First of 4 here with the Cubs, and then the Brewers move on to Cincinnati for games next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There's the 1-1 to Rizzo.
The Cubs have had their share of injuries as well. Rizzo was on the DL. Chris Bryant's missed now 3 games. You got Zobrist currently on the disabled list. So yeah, and one of the reasons why the Cubs have been so up and down offensively is because they really haven't had a whole lot of continuity in their lineup.
It really speaks well to what the Brewers have been able to do with the injuries that they've dealt with. getting a little healthier, and with that, the run production is going up. Almora's running, pitch is taken, and Bandy's throw is in time as he cuts down Albert Almora Jr. Jet Bandy behind the plate tonight. He, like Manny Pena, with a strong arm, putting it on display as the Cubs may want to take a look at it. Joe Madden waiting for the word.
Had a pretty good jump, but look at Bandy's throw right on the bag. Doesn't get any better than that. Right on the money. You see the tag. I think he beats the tag. Or should I say he tagged him before he got to the bag.
Yep, no reviews, scoreless after one. Inning here at Wrigley Field. Domingo Santana taking ball one from Kyle Hendricks. Brewers had a 2-out double from Braun in the first. That was all they could get. A leadoff walk to Albert Almora, and then he was caught stealing to end the inning. Santana, a roller over to Anthony Rizzo, and there is out number one. Well, we have a couple great games going on Fox Sports Wisconsin tonight. If you're looking for Game 6 between the Bucks and the Celtics, it's on Fox Sports Wisconsin Plus. You can see some of the channel listings here in front of you, but for the complete list, go to foxsportswisconsin.com. You can also get both games on the Fox Sports Go app. Bucks on the home floor trying to push that to a 7th game against the Celtics. Big night of sports, all kinds of things going on here tonight. Here's Jonathan VR.
Yeah, Bucks, Brewers, NFL draft. A lot going on.
Yeah, you name it, man. Got a lot to keep track of here. Fun time to be a sports fan. You mentioned the velocity of Hendricks. He has been, over the past couple of years, among the very best, though, in terms of earned run average. Only Clayton Kershaw has a better ERA since 2016 than Kyle Hendricks. And he has VR tapping to Rizzo, and he'll handle it himself for out number 2.
Yeah, the contact has not been very good for the Brewers so far, except for Braun. Yeah, Kyle Hendricks in 2016 led all of the major leagues in earned run average at 213. A 16-game winner that year.
He's what we're talking about here. And you have Kershaw, Corey Kluber, Max Scherzer. I mean, that's some serious company. But from the Brewers' perspective, kind of fun to see Chase Anderson. More the kind of fun it just is.
Right.
See, we know how strong he's been for the last couple of years.
And locking horns tonight. So 2 of the best over the last few years.
Orlando Arcia at the plate. And back into the fold after the ankle injury last Saturday against the Miami Marlins. Saw him in the lineup last night. His hit was some 4 trips. But a relatively quick return for Arcia. Missed the Sunday game. Brewers had an off day Monday. And then sat out Tuesday and right back at it a day later.
Yeah. And Brewers very fortunate. So was Arcia. It wasn't more serious.
A ball, 2 strikes. And when he rounded that bag, took that big turn. It was a game the Brewers won handily. He always goes 100 miles an hour. And to slam on the brakes, went back to first, and looked like he may have rolled that ankle badly. It turned into a scare more than anything as Arcia sends one to the gap in right center field, and that's going to go to the wall. Arcia on his way to second with a 2-out double.
Yeah, sinker stayed up in the strike zone, and when you get it up around the belt, it flattens out quite a bit. And Orlando Arcia, a ringing double into the gap. Yeah, I don't blame him for swinging. That was a nice swing. You see it, not much sink when it gets up in the zone like that. Outer half and rips it out there into the gap. Another 2-out double for the Brewers. Those are the pitches you have to take advantage of against Hendricks. When he gets the ball up like that, go with it. He wants you to pull the baseball. Got to take him the other way.
So like the first inning, the Brewers get a 2-out double. Jed Bandy at the plate. Talk about Jet's work behind the plate. When he threw out Albert Almora, that's the 3rd runner he has cut down trying to steal. Only 2 have been successful in steal attempts.
Yeah, Brewers are very good in the department of throwing out base runners with Bandy and Pena.
2 good arms, pitchers who give the catchers a fighting chance.
It's a team effort. Pitchers got to keep him close, get rid of the baseball quickly. Then the catcher's able to do what he does.
Jet gets the call tonight. Manny Pena not in the lineup. A ball, a strike. One home run for Bandy. That came against the Mets at Citi Field. '28-year-old Kyle Hendricks out of Dartmouth College. 2-1. Couple of games in from earlier today. The Cardinals knocked off the Mets 4-3. Rays beat Cincinnati 7-4. Yankees get a walk-off. Beat the Twins 4-3.
Twins were winning that game all day until the 9th.
Tough series for Molitor's team. 2-2 pitch. Jet had the very good first month last year. Hit better than 300. 327 in fact in April of 2017. Homered 4 times. And hit into some bad luck and had some injury issues. And what looked like a promising year, it turned south for him personally. But that combo with Bandy and Pena can be a very good one for this ball club.
And defensively, it's about as good a tandem as you'll see.
Second 4-game series already between these 2 teams. Get a good dose of each other. Bandy takes a cold third strike. Caught the corner. Jet didn't think so, but it's the first strikeout of the night for Kyle Hendricks. Still no score in the second. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Hupy and Abraham. Voted best, rated best. Hupy and Abraham, tell them you mean business. By Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories. And by Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Scoreless Wrigley Field, bottom of the second inning. Game 1 of 4 between these two teams. A couple great games going on Fox Sports Wisconsin tonight. If you're looking for Game 6 between the Bucks and the Celtics, that's on Fox Sports Wisconsin Plus. Get all your complete listings on foxsportswisconsin.com. You can also get both games on Fox Sports Go. As Anthony Rizzo going after the first pitch and popping this one up, and heading out that way is Jonathan Villar to squeeze it for out number 1.
Yeah, good changeup to start him off, and Rizzo went down and tried to get it, but popped it up. And there are times when Chase Sanders is going to use a lot of curveballs. Kind of similar to Zach Davies, the curveball changeup combination, and it's always interesting to see which one is the one he's going to go with the most.
Here's Tommy LaStella, the third baseman again tonight for Joe Madden's team.
It's a touch and feel thing for Anderson.
He has an array of options, which is good, as LaStella sends one to Orlando Arcia. 2 up, 2 down. Remember when Arcia was injured in that game against the Marlins, he made a spectacular play on a pop-up that was actually more like a fly ball. It was well out into left field. He was busted back over the shoulder catch. He was also had a couple of hits that night. And it looked like the bat was coming around. Very encouraging to see him with that 2-out double here tonight in his first at bat. You know he can hit. He started to show that a year ago.
Well, after a slow start last year, the Brewers are hoping that he'd be a little bit more consistent throughout the season, not be as hot and cold. But again, he's still young, still learning.
Switch hitting catcher Victor Caratini.
Said that inside corner is closed for Chase Anderson against lefties. Well, he's been on that in the first couple innings, but Corey Blaze, our home plate umpire, not giving it to him.
2-0 pitch. And Caratini with a base hit to center. Took the change, and there's the first hit of the night for Chicago.
Yep, right down the middle of the plate, up in the zone. Well, you come inside with a fastball, then you go with the changeup. It's out over the plate, and Caratini with a nice swing. This guy can swing the bat a little bit, Caratini. We saw him at Miller Park.
Two outs, a runner on for Addison Russell. Russell off to a slow start. He's 205. Tough year for him last year. Battled through injury and off-field issue. Still had some moments. The foot injury nagged him for a good chunk of last year. Played in 110 games. Two strikes and nothing. This with a fastball.
He got off to a pretty good start this year, but has since tailed off a bit. Averaged just a little bit over 200. Solid defender.
An all-star 2 years ago was Russell. Chase ready with a 1-2. That's back up the middle. Villar is able to knock it down, and that's all he can do. Caratini to second. And after the first two were retired, the Cubs now have runners at first and second.
Addison Russell, a guy that makes pretty good contact with two strikes, even with the shift. And VR shaded up the middle, not able to get there and make a play. A good job just getting there, but no chance of making the throw to get an out.
So a little threat going on for the Cubs here in the second inning after Anderson got Rizzo to pop up and LaStella to ground to short. Back-to-back singles from Caratini and Russell sets it up for Jason Hayward, the right fielder. Pickoff attempt. See the numbers for Hayward. This season at the plate was with the Cardinals 3 years ago, and it helped him get a huge contract with the Cubs. Year number 3 for Hayward here in Chicago.
To say it's been a disappointing career with the Cubs offensively, although he does save a lot of runs out there in right field. Covers a lot of ground, great throwing arm. When you sign a contract like that, you expect a little bit more run production.
Yeah, the offense just has not been there, but you're right, the 5 Gold Gloves that he's racked up in his career. The bat has yet to come around. Made some adjustments from 16 to 17. Bumped the numbers up a little bit. Just in terms of batting average on one pitch. Chase needing to battle here in the second inning. Went 5 1/3 in his last start against the Marlins. Had to work to get through that as well. Needed 97 pitches. That's a diving stop by Ryan Braun. Check it out on the feed to Chase Anderson. Ryan Braun starting at first base for the first time since game 2. And for the third time, period. And a highlight reel play from Ryan Braun takes a run away and keeps this game scoreless after 2. Time play by Ryan Braun to take a hit away, take a run away from the Chicago Cubs. Now time for the Lowe's whole team together. During this 8-game winning streak, everything has been clicking here for the Brewers. Better than 5.5 runs a game. Nearly flawless, 4 errors, but 3 came in one game, which was a Brewers win against Cincinnati. The starters have been outstanding, and the bullpen has been next to untouchable. 4 earned runs, period, throughout the course of this winning streak. Speaking of good defensive plays, Rock.
How about Ryan Braun? I mean, he hadn't played there in a long time. That was, you know, last time he's been out there was in San Diego, and I tell you, that's not a bad play. Gold Glove caliber play over at first base, and a nice flip over to Anderson for the out. That saved a couple of runs.
Ryan had a fair amount of work over at first during spring training, and made some plays pretty similar to that, as a matter of fact. Looked pretty good for a position that, you know, he's talked about just feeling so unnatural, and it's understandable. Guy's been an outfielder for years, briefly at third base, of course, at the beginning of his big league career.
He was asked how he felt over there. He said, I feel uncomfortable. Craig Counsell was asked about that, and he said, I'd be surprised if he didn't say that. I'd be surprised if he said he felt uncomfortable all these years. Never playing first base. There's more to it than meets the eye. Little nuances, but I mean, with sheer athleticism, there's got to be no problem for Braun.
And that and his competitive nature, period. Just an impressive play. Chase Anderson leading off the third, and he goes down swinging for strikeout number 2 for Kyle Hendricks.
Yeah, Hendricks not a big strikeout guy. 10 punchouts in 22 innings so far. He likes to get outs early and count with that changeup and that 2-seam fastball. Keep the ball on the ground.
Top of the order for Lorenzo Cain. Tapped one back to Hendricks to begin the night. Cain just a shade below 300 coming into this game, this series. It's a good return to Kansas City for him, though. He played a big role in Tuesday night's win, reaching 4 times, including hitting a solo homer. And a very warm reception for the fans in Kansas City. This couldn't have been a whole lot better for Lorenzo. He got a nice welcome back, and the Brewers won both games.
He enjoyed that, didn't he?
He did.
The reception the crowd gave him. And the teammates over there in the other dugout, Kansas City Royals. Man, love seeing them.
2-1 pitch is bounced over to Tommy La Stella. That's out number 2.
Hey, with warmer weather on the way, it's almost time to loosen that winter coat. And on Sunday, May 6th, the first 20,000 fans at the Brewers matchup against the Pirates will take home a retro lightweight Brewers hoodie. Secure your seats at brewers.com. Of course, I think it's not time to get rid of the winter coat this weekend.
No, we're gonna hang on to it. Warm weather gear will be in order. That hoodie would come in handy.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Saturday.
Waterproof one.
Talking about low 40s here on Saturday. So there is that.
So just keep it handy, the winter coat, if we're coming to Wrigley Field.
Exactly right. Christian Yelich, 2 outs, and the base is empty. You know, Brewers fans like to make the trip here to Chicago. Milwaukee won its last 4 games here in 2017, a couple in blowout fashion. Remember the makeup game. The Brewers had a one-and-done stop here before going on to New York just before the All-Star break. That was a Brewers blowout win. Then they came in here in September and swept the series. Yelich with a bouncer to Javier Baez. Kyle Hendricks has a 3-up, 3-down, 3rd inning. We are through 2 1/2 in Chicago. Still no score.
back to work, and one of his 3 quality starts in the season came against these Cubs. It was 6 innings of 2-run ball, but he did take the loss. And just speaking to him about game planning against this Cubs lineup, he said certainly this is a dynamic team. He said they've got a great mix of righties and lefties, all of whom can swing the bat well. So he said he needs to make sure that his fastball doesn't sit in any spots where they can feast on him and that they're going to get hard contact. He says he's going to mix in more of his breaking stuff, and he says just making sure that he's changing speeds, mixing his pitches. He says obviously you have to come in with a really strategic game plan to keep a lineup like this off of balance. But he said he knows what these head-to-head matchups with the Cubs matter, even this early in the season. He said that feeling of becoming 1 game short last year, that series here in September and back home at Miller Park, those are fresh memories for this club. So he says he certainly wants to continue to set the tone for this team as they start this 4-game series.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sophia and Rock, with she just mentioned, when you miss by 1 game, it's so easy to place a lot of emphasis on what happens in September. But like this club takes these April games and they all count and they lock in. It's not, things don't go well, they don't just blow it off. They move on, but they know these kind of games can matter a ton.
Yeah, and Craig Counsell's been managing like they matter here in the month of April, particularly the way he's working the bullpen. I mean, trying to get the most out of every one of those guys. And they're playing every game to win. I mean, there's really no sense. I mean, you really don't see in Craig Counsell, leaving a guy out there just because it is April, but throwing the best lineup out there, and it seems like whatever Counsell's been doing lately has been working.
Hendricks with a fly ball to right field. Plenty of room for Domingo Santana, who puts it away for out number 1.
No such thing as saying, well, leave a starter out there a little bit longer. It's only April. That's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I mean, you get him out there and get him out of there when you don't feel like he's going to be effective anymore because you need to win these games.
That's where that bullpen becomes so valuable. And one night you can use Jeremy Jefferson in the 6th inning, and the next appearance for him could be the 8th or 9th, just depending. And he has a bullpen full of guys who really seem to embrace it, just staying ready, knowing that they could get the call at any time.
Anytime, and they might be asked to throw 2 innings. Every one of them out there can throw multiple innings for Counsell. It's one of the reasons why this bullpen's been so good.
Albert Almora Jr. with a ground ball that'll be snapped up by Orlando Arcia. 2 men out. It's good to see Orlando Arcia out there. Makes the spectacular look routine. With the defensive alignment, you saw him start to make the jog out to the right field grass.
Helping Ryan Braun break in that first baseman's mitt with those big throws from shortstop.
Gets there in a hurry, doesn't it?
I tell you, don't catch those things right, they hurt. Getting a little bit in the palm, ouch. Especially the way Arcia can throw.
Yeah, it is a good fastball. Shift on for Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber already with 6 home runs. He's driven in 16. Oh, 2 the count. Little tapper. A chance for Braun. He'll handle it himself, and that will do it as Chase Anderson retires the side in order. Well, we'll see Ryan Braun lead off in the 4th inning. He has been a hot hitter. He's already made a highlight defensive play to try to get something started in a scoreless game in the 4th. Is brought to you by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension. And by Pepsi, this is the Pepsi for your crew.
The pitching in the early going, Kyle Hendricks and Chase Anderson. 2 hits allowed for both. As we move to the 4th inning, and Ryan Braun, who has one of those hits, leads things off. Double off the wall and left for Braun in the first. In fact, both of the Brewers' hits have been doubles, one from Braun, one from Orlando Arcia.
They were talking to Ryan around the batting cage. I said, you're going to miss the folks out in left field tonight. You know, the bleacher folks out there that like to give Ryan a hard time. He says, yeah, you know, I am going to miss it. I kind of enjoy it. So it kind of gives me incentive when they start getting on me.
It's that competitor in him again. Braun shoots one down the line, but foul.
I said, did they ever come up with any, creative jabs at? Yeah, every now and again they come off with a good one. It makes me laugh.
And I was telling myself, well, I'm sure you'll hear some stuff over at first, and he points out, no, that's where it's at.
No, that's where it's at. Yeah. I think they miss him out there too, the folks out in the bleachers.
I suppose Ryan's no different than any number of great players where you really can feed off of that. Braun, a swing and a miss. There's out number 1 in the 4th.
That got him up and in.
1 away in the 4th inning, and let's check out Travis Shaw. Presented by AARP as Travis takes on Kyle Hendricks, and he has fared pretty well, as we mentioned at the top, against the Cubs starter. 5 for 16, including 3 homers. He has driven in 7, so he has done some damage in a limited sample size against Hendricks.
Well, we know how good of a low ball hitter Travis is, and that's where Kyle Hendricks lives. He likes to throw down in the strike zone with the changeup, the 2-seamer if he misses his spot. That's when Shaw can give it a ride.
Throws it down and in, and when it's up and middle in, as we saw in Kansas City, he can drive that out of the ballpark as well. 1-1 pitch. It's a ground ball handled by Rizzo. Out number 2.
Brewers have only been able to elevate 1 ball so far tonight. That was Travis Shaw back in the first. Everything else on the ground in strikeouts.
2 men out for Domingo Santana. This is more of the Kyle Hendricks that the Cubs witnessed in 2016. Santana bounced out to Rizzo in the 2nd inning. Had a couple of hits on Tuesday night, both to right field. It's the Royals.
See Domingo a little bit on his front foot. A lot of check swings for him, which means he's really not picking the baseball up all that well. It's a grind. He's trying. He's working at it.
And he goes back up the middle here and past it, diving Baez, a base hit.
That's better. He stayed back nicely. Was on good balance through the swing and able to shoot one into center field. And watch the balance for Domingo. He stands tall in that batter's box, and see, that's just a nice swing for Domingo Santana. Not out on his front foot, stays back and rewarded with a base hit. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Anything but, right?
Yeah.
All 3 Brewers hits coming with 2 outs in this game. Doubles from Braun in the first, Shaw in the second, and a single from Santana here in the 4th inning. As Jonathan Villar steps in. Villar had a hit last night, drove in a run. Helping the Brewers beat the Royals. Had a 3-hit night on Tuesday. 3 singles, including a bunt single. Santana running. They try to get him picked off. Rizzo to Russell, who applies the tag. As the Brewers run themselves out of a threat here in inning number 4. Greg Counsell will want to take a look.
A pretty big jump, and Hendricks very aware of base runners, and he's going to be out at second base.
That will do it for the Brewers. We move to the bottom of the 4th. Still no score at Wrigley. Bottom of the 4th, no score as Javier Baez settles in to lead things off against Chase Anderson. Baez a fly ball to Santana in the 1st inning. One of the hot hitters in all of baseball. 8-game hitting streak. He is atop the National League in extra base hits. Is Baez 17.
Always has been considered a pull hitter, but right now he's driving the ball in the right field quite a bit, making it much more difficult to pitch to him. Got to mix it up now.
And a ground ball, another diving stop by Braun, and unable to finish on the toss to Chase Anderson. A base hit for Javier Baez.
That's what we're talking about. He's shooting the ball to the other opposite field and making it more difficult to not only pitch him but defend him. See, the Brewers still have the shift on him. RC up the middle. And really no chance for Braun. Even a good throw, probably not going to get Baez, who runs well.
On already with a highlight play and was bidding to make another, but Baez is on. As the Cubs get their leadoff hitter on for the 2nd time tonight. Here's Anthony Rizzo. Popped up the VR in the 2nd inning. And this is another pop up. And again, it's to Jonathan VR, and that's out number 1.
Yeah, Rizzo upset with himself. He got jammed on a fastball in. And when Anthony Rizzo is swinging the bat well, you're not going to get that pitch by him too often. He stands right on top of home plate and can handle the pitch on the inside corner extremely well. Chase able to get in on him that time. You can see he's upset with himself. Normally a pitch that he drives somewhere.
1 out, 1 on for Tommy La Stella. Just tuning in, LaStella again getting the call at third base. Chris Bryant remains out of the lineup. Bryant was hit to the helmet by a pitch on Sunday in Colorado and has not been out there since. Cubs were off on Monday and they just split a 2-game series against the Indians in Cleveland. LaStella with a fly ball to center. Routine for Lorenzo Cain. And that's out number 2.
Speaking of Cleveland, the Brewers are going to see the Indians on the next homestand, and Indians put Andrew Miller on the disabled list today. Hamstring.
Yeah, it's fortunately becoming a bit of a thing for pitchers coming out of the bullpen. Obviously, Corey Knebel dealing with it, and Andrew Miller going down last night.
That's a big loss for Cleveland.
One of those, when Josh Hader comes in there, a lot of folks refer to that Hader now as kind of an Andrew Miller type role. When needed, could be 6th inning, could be back end. Rematch of that classic 7-game World Series a couple of years ago. There's Victor Caratini. He singled to center his first at bat.
We saw Caratini in that 4-game series 3 times at first base. Anthony Rizzo on a disabled list, the switch hitter.
Got a taste of the big leagues last year. He was the organization's minor league player of the year in 2017. Now they got Baez picked. Braun, Arcia. And they'll make it easy for him as Arcia will apply the tag. And that's how the bottom of the 4th inning ends, much like how the top of the 4th ended. Still scoreless, Brewers and Cubs.
Whitewater Warhawks scouting report. Brett Phillips for the Sky Sox currently on a 7-game hitting streak. Not too bad for him. 11 hits on the week, 407 average, 6 runs, 2 RBIs. The OPS very high as well. On the season, he's hitting 340 with 4 doubles, 3 triples. So great to see Phillips keep picking up where he left off in AAA. We saw him here briefly with the big league club. And real quick for you guys, an update on Eric Thames. He did go back to Milwaukee and was seen by team physician Dr. William Rosh. He's actually traveling to Phoenix tonight to get a second opinion on that torn left thumb. It's a UCL ligament tear for Thames that has him on the disabled list. So these visits will just determine the surgery and timeline and some kind of rehab plan for him moving forward. So Thames getting some more information, and we'll get more updates for you as the next few days play out.
All right, thanks, Sophia. Yeah, the injuries just keep on coming. They're getting some people healthy, but Great Council's had to deal with this quite a bit, shuffling the lineup, and good thing they have some depth here.
Yeah, well, still playing some pretty good baseball. Guys that are stepping up. You know, that play Braun had with Baez at the plate, very similar to the play that, you know, Thames got hurt on in Kansas City.
And we'll see how long it'll be when similar injuries happen. You probably read about it, heard about it. It could be several weeks, but they'll continue to gather information as Jonathan Villar goes down swinging. There's out number 1 here in inning number 5.
Number 3, shortstop.
Well, he's got a good one. That changeup. Look at the movement on it going down and away from VR and over the top of it. His 4th strikeout. Mentioned he came in his first 4 starts, striking out only 10. Well, he's got 4 already tonight.
Faces Orlando Arcia, who doubled to right center back in the 2nd inning.
Check that. Had 19 strikeouts. Looked at the wrong row.
It happens. It's all right.
19 strikeouts.
Arcia with a bouncer to Addison Russell. 2 up, 2 down.
Got to get the eyes checked.
Catcher, Jeff Hankins.
You're just enjoying the accommodations.
I
here
am.
at lovely
Yeah.
Wrigley Field.
Yeah,
Again,
you're trying, you're shuffling papers around. There's not a whole lot of room up here, and getting to know my partner pretty well. You know, these 4 games.
Kind of like heaven, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Isn't it? Can it get any better than this?
I don't think it can. Here's Jet Bandy.
Although it's good that we took the you know, the windows out of here. They were here when we showed up.
You know, it might be like 110 in here if the windows were still in. Here's Jet Bandy with a fly ball to left. Kyle Schwarber puts it away, and it's another 1-2-3 inning for Hendricks. Halfway through, still no score.
Already a wild day across Major League Baseball. 3 walk-offs. Here's the first one. Yankee Stadium, it's Gary Sanchez with a walk-off home run against Twins closer Fernando Rodney. That was a 3-run shot to left, and the Yankees extend their winning streak to 6. The Pirates A 1-0 win for them thanks to Corey Dickerson, his first walk-off home run, and Dexter Fowler in the 13th. The walk-off single, that's a 4-3 win for the Cardinals over the Mets. A great game there. Carlos Martinez against Noah Syndergaard. So some wild finishes already. Might we get one tonight at Wrigley Field?
You never know. Brewers beat the Cubs on a walk-off. Orlando Arcia, walk-off single at Miller Park.
Well, you hope there's not a walk-off tonight.
You don't want to walk off tonight. You don't want one of those for the next several games. Brewers have had a fair amount of them. A couple will go for them, and a few go against. Here's Victor Caratini. He was at the plate when Javier Baez was caught stealing. We've had 3 half innings tonight and on a caught stealing. Albert Almora Jr. in the first inning. Jed Bandy threw him out. And then in the 4th inning, both Domingo Santana and Javier Baez got caught, and both were 1 to 3 to 6. Caratini with the ground ball in the hole. Arcia the stop, and the throw is not in time. Infield single for Victor Caratini.
Yeah, he gets down that line pretty good, but what a play by Arcia. Took him a while to get rid of it. Had to get up, make sure he had a good grip on the baseball. He had a little ways to go, and he's got plenty of arm, a little off mark. See Ryan Braun leaving the bag. That's a smart thing to do. If you don't feel like you're going to get the out, don't take a chance of ball going off your glove and into the dugout. So good decision by Ryan Braun. He's played a pretty good first base so far tonight.
And yeah, Caratini can run pretty well going up that first base line. So an infield single. Here's Addison Russell.
So we're talking about the windows here at Wrigley Field, and you know they're in the early part of the season. You can't take them in and out on a daily basis because you know once they're out, they're out. So we're kind of committed to ourselves here. See?
Yep.
The windows.
See all the way out there.
Yeah.
Wave to rocks adoring public here in Chicago.
See the Cubs radio guys, Pat Hughes, Ron Coomer, they have the windows closed. At least Pat Hughes does.
Until about June, I think he normally likes them closed. Russell trying to bunt, pops it up, and Jet Bandy will put it away for the first out.
It just makes it very difficult to get a sense for the game when you're you know behind those glass windows.
Oh, I hear you.
So our buddy, John Walsh, who used to produce Brewer games for Fox, worked with us. He now works with the Cubs. I told him about it. Of course, I think the way I put it, it was a little bit more than I told him about. I kind of forced him to call somebody, and right away they came out, took him out. So good job by John Walsh.
You two, you and John have a lot of clout. I just sit back and watch. No, I thought you made yourself very clear, and John delivered. He had a couple people.
Yeah.
One who looked like a rush end. D lineman. Hayward gets into one into center field. Lorenzo Cain will have room shy of the track, and that's out number 2. Not a whole lot of breeze that's going to push any fly balls here tonight at Wrigley Field.
Hey, he hit that one pretty well, but a little cool out here tonight. Not a whole lot of breeze. What breeze there is, I think, is going from right to left. Didn't help that one much.
2 outs. Caratini, the runner at first. Now, John said BA would have had that taken care of right away with the windows. I'm starting to think your clout is underrated.
No, BA would have. We still would have the windows in if BA was here.
A little chilly for him.
It's hard to do a game behind the glass, don't you think?
Oh yeah, with football, any chance. Some places you don't have any choice, but when you do, you open them up.
I mean, it's part of the game, the weather.
Right.
You always have to keep in mind what the conditions are, and you can't do that when you're enclosed.
So we're going to roll the dice because it might rain tomorrow. But we're ready. We will tough it out.
Yeah. I want to say hello to John's wife Susan back in Brookfield. I call her the gamer.
The gamer?
Tough girl.
Okay.
Hey Susan.
2 balls, 1 strike to Hendricks. Leadoff infield single from Victor Caratini. He's gone nowhere. There are 2 men out. Two-two pitch. And that is strike 3 called. Catch at the corner is Chase Anderson, and that'll do it for the Cubs in the 5th. Still a scoreless game as we move to inning number 6. Milwaukee Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Miller Lights. Great taste and only 96 calories. And by Toyota. Let's go places.
Back at Wrigley Field, no score as we head to the 6th. Just 7 combined hits between the Brewers and the Cubs. Good is in our DNA. Every Brewers player does his part in supporting the Milwaukee community through a variety of initiatives like building houses, bikes for kids, scholarships, youth baseball, and much more. You can join Brewers Community Foundation and play on our team by lending a physical and financial hand to nonprofits throughout Milwaukee and Wisconsin. Before the game, Craig Counsell was asked about the impact of having Christian Yelich back in the lineup and Lorenzo Cain leading off as well, and he said really what you're getting is 2 guys dynamite at the top. Their on-base percentage, just a huge clip, both above 400. He said they give you both great at-bats, very good defensively, and can really make an impact on the bases. They're exceptional runners, he said. So 2 all-around great players. He said it's great to have both of them at the top of the lineup, and he said especially now losing the left-handed bat in Eric Thames, getting Yelich back at this point is critical for this offense.
Yeah, it is. Defensive presence, Gold Glove presence, but as you said, both are on-base guys. Rock, you mentioned this during spring training. Yelich is a guy who caught your eye with how he runs the bases. He's really pretty to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Robin Yount. We've been talking about a little bit this year, and well, he cuts the bags and cuts the corners. Not a whole lot of wasted distance when he's going from first to third, but just smart ball players, both of them. Lorenzo Cain, Christian Yelich. No surprise that the Brewers on this 8-game winning streak about the time that Yelich came off the DL.
Chase Anderson with a bouncer to Tommy La Stella. And Anthony Rizzo able to secure, and there is out number 1. Throw took him, looked like off the bag, but I guess he said he applied the tag. Anderson not quite so sure. Brewers take a look here.
Anderson not moving. He thinks he's safe. Pretty routine all day to get rid of it and get it over to first base. I don't know, maybe late.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be moving either. We are.
Foot on the bag. He was tagged, but I think his foot was on the bag.
Take a look. Yeah, Chase didn't take that right turn to the dugout.
I guess he didn't have to tag him because his foot was still in the bag when he caught the baseball. That's one thing we didn't notice on the first look at that. Foot's still in the bag, and I think he doesn't even have to tag him, but he did anyway. Then we'll see. If the foot's on the bag when he catches the baseball, chases out. If it's off, he's going to be safe because the tag was a little bit late. That's good footwork regardless for Anthony Rizzo around first base.
First challenge of the night here. Barry Cedarstrom is the crew chief. Hard to tell in our first look.
Kind of an interesting way Rizzo caught that baseball. Didn't look like he had to go into foul ground to catch it. He did, but if the umpires in New York say his foot was on the bag, he's out. If not, he's safe because the tag was late.
And he will be out at first. So Anderson is retired.
Now, on the first look, I was watching the tag. I didn't notice that the foot was still on the bag, but second time I realized it looked like Rizzo kept the foot on the bag when he caught the ball.
Yeah, that last look was a pretty decent one there. So yeah, it looked like he held the bag, and it is out number one as the lineup turns over. Lorenzo Cain at the plate. Tap back to the pitcher and grounded to third so far tonight.
I guess the only question you have is if Rizzo thought he had the foot on the bag, why'd he tag him?
Trying to cover everything.
Just throwing it out there. Players know.
0-2 to Cain. It's few and far between tonight. The Brewers with 3, the Cubs with 4. All 3 of the Brewers hits have come with 2 men out. The 1-2. Check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. Eric Thames on the disabled list. He has 7. Braun and Shaw a couple behind. And Lorenzo Cain hit his 3rd of the year, a solo shot on Tuesday night against the Royals in Kansas City. And there's a fly ball hit back into center field. Almora Jr. going back, reaches up and makes a terrific catch. 2 men out.
Yeah, perfect ride on that baseball. Almora doing a good job going back. Went right to the spot and got it right before it hit the wall. Well, Lorenzo Cain gives this one a ride. Look at Almora. Never really takes his eye off the baseball and able to leap and make a nice catch about halfway on the warning track. Well done. Been some good defense tonight.
Makes your pitcher very happy and the hitter saying you can't buy a break.
Now you know what it feels like, Lorenzo. He's done that to a number of hitters already this year in center field.
Yeah, he has. Here's Christian Yelich. Couple of ground balls from Yelich tonight.
Yeah, different night. You probably see a couple of home runs. One for Hayward probably, and that was probably going to leave the ballpark on a different night.
And no wind to push anything out of here. Not on this night. Mid-50s here in Chicago. And a pitcher's duel going on. So the big year that Hendricks had last year, or 2 years ago, he was 7-5 last year. Did miss some turns. He was on the disabled list, but still started 24 games. Very impressive ERA, 3.03. Three balls, one strike to Christian Yelich.
Pretty good for a guy that never hits 90 miles an hour. Really good command, mixes his pitches, hides the ball well, and for the most part works ahead in the count.
Payoff pitch to Yelich. And struck him out. Changeup gets Yelich, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Good play by Almora, helping the cause. Still no score in the sixth.
And it's a 3-game divisional showdown between the Brewers and Pirates as the NL Central foes collide in the weekend set at Miller Park. That's Friday, May 4th through Sunday the 6th. To view the full series schedule and reserve your seats, visit brewers.com/tickets.
Albert Almora Jr. leading off the home half of the sixth. He was walked, he was grounded to short. He was caught stealing in the first inning. One of 3 to get caught here tonight so far. Game hitting streak has him above 300. Good pitching and some sparkling defensive work on both sides here in this game. There's a ground ball to Braun. Out number 1.
Yeah, you're getting the pitching that you would expect in this game. With Chase Anderson throwing well. Kyle Hendricks has had a lot of success and has had some success against Milwaukee. A lot of off-speed pitches going to get done for both of these guys. It's going to come down to who makes the mistake. Not just the pitcher, who makes the mistake defensively, perhaps.
Chase getting a lot of first pitch strikes as he now hits this batting order for the 3rd time through. 14 first pitch strikes for Anderson as he faces Kyle Schwarber.
Not a whole lot going on for either team offensively between the two. 0 for 3 runners in scoring position tonight. That's been it.
Schwarber tonight, a foul pop and a ground ball to Braun. Here's the 0-1. And a drive to right field, and that is gone. Kyle Schwarber opens up the scoring with a rope over the right field wall.
Well, went down and got that one. Well, Schwarber's been swinging a hot bat. Cut fastball down and in. Knocked it on out of here. There's that down and into the lefty. Dangerous pitch, and Schwarber gets the bat head out. And the Cubs on the board first. Line drive out of here.
Here's Javier Baez. His infield single in the 4th extends his hitting streak. It's now at 9 games. Chase gave up a couple of home runs in his last start, both to Lewis Brinson of the Miami Marlins. But it was still a winning decision for Anderson. And the Brewers ended up winning 12-3.
And the only runs he allowed in that start were the 2 homers.
Brinson ended up with 3 in that series. Talked a lot about the Brewers taking advantage of teams that are rebuilding or just generally struggling, but it's worth noting that when the Marlins left Milwaukee, they went on to LA to play the Dodgers, ended up winning the last 2 games of that series, including last night against Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, they hit Kershaw pretty well yesterday.
2-2 pitch to Baez. Anderson gave up a walk in the 1st inning. Avoids it here as Baez pops one up a mile high, and Travis Shaw is there for out number 2.
Pretty mighty hack right there for Baez. He's still standing there along the first baseline, wondering how he missed it. Hanging curveball, and he got under it. You can see the big swing. He was out in front, falls down. Just trying to make contact, you know, with 2 strikes.
Little Carlos Gomez right there.
Yeah.
Just put the ball in play.
Yep, you got about halfway down. It was a foul ball anyway, but he thought he should have hit that one a little bit better. These guys are entertaining, if nothing else, huh?
Exactly. Here's Anthony Rizzo. No choking up with the bat, just trying to get it in play somewhere. It's
falling down.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to, I wonder what would have happened if somebody did that when Nolan Ryan was out there.
I'm not sure that next at bat would have gone very well.
I can tell you what would have happened. We play in a different time, though.
We do. A ball is strike to Rizzo. The way the game has changed, the approach at the plate, not all, but many. Launch angle, drive the ball, get it in the air. And Rizzo gets one in the air here to left field. Long run for Yelich, but he'll cover that ground. And that'll do it for the Cubs here in the 6th. But the first run of the game comes in this inning as Kyle Schwarber goes deep. 1-0 Chicago. One nothing Cubs as we move to the 7th inning. Ryan Braun will be leading things off. He is turning in some good work with the glove. Check this out, taking away a couple of runs in our Badger Mutual Insurance play of the game.
I think he's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable there, although he hadn't played there in about, what, a month?
Yeah, game 2 of the season.
Maybe 3 weeks.
Started at first base in the first 2 games of the year in San Diego. At the plate, Braun has doubled and struck out. Just 3 hits for the Brewers. Hendricks has retired the last 6. Actually, Santana was caught stealing to win the 4th inning. And then back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings for the Cubs right-hander.
Both pitchers' pitch counts in really good shape. Hendricks at 80.
Oh, 2 the count to Ryan Braun. Braun, Shaw, and Santana here for Milwaukee in the 7th. Hendricks needed 95 pitches to get through 5 innings in its last start against the Rockies. And the Cubs won 16-5. Cubs have had a handful of games where they have piled on the runs.
All or nothing, right?
Seems like it's been that way with Chicago. Enough of those all games where they lead the National League in runs per game. But they have been shut out 3 times. Joe Maddon's team tonight's an exception. The starting pitching has been up and down, and yet the Brewers saw the Cubs. Cubs pitchers worked a couple of shutouts at Miller Park. Here comes a 2-2. Braun with a liner that Baez will climb the ladder and get.
Not a whole lot you can do. Ryan hit that one right on the nose, but perfectly timed leap by Baez. This guy's some kind of athlete. That's a pretty good vertical leap. What do you got on that? 3 feet?
Sure looked like it.
He got up.
And taking extra bases away from Ryan Braun, that would have shot the gap.
In the 6th inning, Albert Almora ran down a deep fly from Lorenzo Cain, and now Baez takes away a hit, likely a double from Ryan Braun. Here's Travis Shaw. Shaw is flied to center and is grounded out to first. Five homers, 14 RBIs for Shaw. He's ahead of the count, 3-0. Take you back to Tuesday night in Kansas City. Travis Shaw getting into one. Powerball home run count, 5 on the year now for Shaw. Hitters count for him here. And another chance for Baez. That's out number 2.
Yeah, a two-seam fastball down in the strike zone, but it went away from Shaw as it got to the hitting zone. He came back from down 3-0 in the count to get him. That's what we're talking about. He likes the ball down, but watch the way that ball sneaks away from him as it gets to home plate, and had him out in the end.
Here's Domingo Santana. Singled to center in the 4th inning, but then was caught stealing. He'll single to center again here in the 7th. Hit number 4. The Brewers continuing the trend of 2-out hits.
Every one of their hits have come with 2 outs and nobody on.
Second baseman, Jonathan VR.
The course of this streak, they have done some damage with a couple men out. Jonathan VR gets a chance here. He is grounded to first and he is struck out. Still has that average at 289. They caught Santana in the 4th. And Santana's running now as VR swings and misses, and Santana has second base. So they test Victor Caratini. And Santana now in scoring position.
Yeah, both of these managers are trying to get something going offensively by sending some runners. And getting some infielders moving around. That's a big lead for Santana. And just puts his head down and takes off and able to make it. Now he's in scoring position.
No balls, 1 strike to Jonathan VR. VR has been pretty solid here in this first month with runners in scoring position. 6 for 20 as a matter of fact. The 1-1. Looking to make this a bounce back season.
So far so good for VR. Much better with 2 strikes.
Victor Caratini and Kyle Hendricks getting organized. Cubs getting a little bullpen activity going as Pedro Strop is now up.
under the stands out in left field.
They continue, of course, we saw this last year, but they continue to make some improvements at the ballpark. Dugouts have a little different look now. 1-2 to VR.
As you notice, as you enter the Brewers dugout from the clubhouse, they have an ATM machine.
Because why not?
I'm not sure why anybody in the Brewers dugout would need an ATM machine, but it's there.
You never know when you need a 20.
These guys could be an ATM machine.
Well said. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Santana, the runner at second. And a ground ball to Baez. That'll do it for the Brewers in the 7th. Stretch time at Wrigley Field. It's 1-0 Cubs. Brewers and Cubs, 1-0 Chicago. A good pitching duel tonight between Chase Anderson and Kyle Hendricks. One swing of the bat, the difference. A Schwarber homer in the 6th. Tommy La Stella, Victor Caratini, and Addison Russell due up. Stella is grounded to short. He has fly to center. And a hard bouncer knocked down by VR, and he recovers in time. Stays with it for out number 1.
Yeah, the big arm able to get him. Stella getting down that line pretty quickly. They just knock it down when you're playing that deep at second base. The throw's not that long. He's able to get it and get his man. Brewers continue to play good defense. No panic, and the big arm gets him by plenty.
1 away in the 7th for Victor Caratini. Cubs have 5 hits tonight. Caratini has 2 of them. Single to center and an infield single in the 5th. Very efficient night of work for Anderson. You see the pitch count still in very good shape. This is his 81st delivery of the night.
Probably going to be his last inning. He's due up 3rd next inning. Terrific job so far.
0-2 pitch to Caratini. Just does miss. Now the 1-2. Got him. I'm on the change for out number 2. Hey, Brewers fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, stream them live on your mobile device from Fox Sports Go, presented by T-Mobile. Download the app, take Fox Sports Wisconsin and Brewers baseball wherever you go. 37,000 plus at Wrigley Field tonight. Opener of this series between division rivals. Brewers jumping back into NL Central opponents. Addison Russell with a pop-up. Arcia will call off VR, and Arcia will squeeze it, and a nice quick inning for Chase Anderson. We move to the 8th. Still 1-0 Cubs. Toyota, what a pitching duel going on tonight. Chase Anderson, 7 innings of 5-hit ball, just giving up one big hit in this game. Kyle Hendricks, 7 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball. Walking no one, striking out 5. The one swing of the bat, that's the difference. 6th inning, Kyle Schwarber lines one over the wall and right. That is the only run of this game now as the night ends for Hendricks as he makes way for Carl Edwards Jr.
Yeah, 9 of his last 11 outs have been strikeouts. This guy's been on a roll. That earned run average under 1. He's had good success against the Brewers, but I will tell you this. I think the Brewers are glad to see Hendricks out of the game, as good as he was.
Yeah, he looked like the Kyle Hendricks of 2 years ago. Let's check out Orlando's night at the plate, presented by Wendy's. A 2-out double from Arcia in the 2nd inning and a ground ball to short in the 5th. Arcia pops this one straight back and out of play.
Edwards with the fastball in the mid-90s. It's pretty straight, but has a very good curveball to go with it. Really no changeup for the Brewer hitters to worry about with Edwards on the mound, not like Kyle Hendricks.
Wilson Contreras now in the game behind the plate. One pitch to Arcia, and there's a drive hit back into left field, but the park's going to hold it. Schwarber is there to put it away. This is where fly balls, for the most part, are going to die tonight.
He got that one on the end a little bit. It sounded good and it had good trajectory, but just didn't carry. Marcia really put a good swing on it, but just didn't barrel it up. Wind's blowing straight down tonight.
It is. Straight down. Here's Jet Bandy. Bandy hit a fly to left his last time up. Also took a called third strike. Brings it up there at 96, but missed. This Cubs bullpen has been good. Not quite as good if you look at the collective ERA as the Brewers, but still top 5 material in the National League. All 4 of the Brewers' hits in this game have come with 2 outs and the bases empty. A double by Braun in the first, a double by Arcia in the second, single from Santana in the fourth, and a single again from Santana in the seventh. Two balls, one strike. Bandy pops this one up. Addison Russell is out there for out number 2.
Hey, you'll never miss a second of the action with MLB.TV Premium. Enjoy HD streams of all out-of-market games on over 400 different devices. Plus, get a free MLB.com at-bat premium subscription when you sign up.
2 outs and the bases are empty for Jesus Aguilar. Pinch hit opportunity in the 8th. To say the least, his first month of the season has just been outstanding. .421 batting average. The 1 home run was the walk-off on Saturday night against the Marlins. Aguilar drove in a couple of runs last night, a sacrifice fly and a single in the 8th inning. Seems almost every time up he is making some very hard contact. Here's the 0-1.
Yeah, he does have an ability, at least at this point in the season, of just putting the barrel on just about everything, even his outs.
Behind in the count right now, 0-2, as Edwards is just rearing back and letting it fly. On in relief of Kyle Hendricks. Hit the first 7, gave up 4 hits. That was it. Here's the 0-2. And he offered up, and that'll do it. Aguilar a strikeout victim as Carl Edwards Jr. takes care of the Brewers in order in the 8th. Bottom of the 8th we go. Still 1-0 Cubs.
Oscaro, Wisconsin. That's north of Madison. That's your neck of the woods.
Yeah, a little bit.
You've been in Oscaro?
Not lately.
If they call the Brewers by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, they get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. It's offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Write that down right now. Timbers Supper Club.
Timbers Supper Club.
Yep. Just go up 39 and then eventually you turn right. There you are.
Toward Oshkosh.
Jacob Barnes now on the mound for the Brewers. You been there?
I have not.
Okay. You're gonna have to check that box too.
Maybe after a Badger game.
Just let me know. We'll set you up.
No, you
Not
go
a
with
Timbers
me.
Supper Club.
No, you
but
go
I'll
with
tell
me.
you, okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
You'll just set me up. You don't want to hang with me over there.
Hey, you were over. We had you over last November.
Yeah,
But
it was awesome.
dinner too?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Sure.
Yeah. Good times.
Absolutely.
Met the great Dane.
Ron Dane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does some work for our group, as a matter of fact. Jason Hayward leading things off here in the bottom of the 8th against Jacob Barnes.
Hey, we saw Barnes in last night's game in Kansas City, inning of the third scoreless. And back at it tonight.
What of that bullpen core that has been so good. The one blip on the resume of Barnes came against the Cubs at Miller Park, but it was an inning where the Cubs was all they could do to get the ball out of the infield. A couple of errors.
Infield hits. Yep.
So Milwaukee bullpen has gone 28 straight innings without allowing an earned run. Just 11 hits during the stretch. They minimized the walks as well, 6 of them. 2-2 pitch to Hayward. Rounded to first, a terrific play by Ryan Braun. Likely took away a 2-run double from Hayward in the second inning. Cubs have turned in some highlight material as well defensively. 2-2 again.
Shoulder pad fell off for Jet Bandy.
Now he's good to go. The 2-2. And that is strike 3 called. Barnes bringing it at 97 for out number 1.
And maybe Hayward thinking about that cut fastball again. He went with a 4-seamer. Hey, complete a BP Come On Back card by making 7 purchases and 8 or more gallons of gas at participating BP stations. You'll get a free terrace level ticket to an upcoming Brewers game. Learn more by calling 414-902-4000.
One away here in the 8th inning. Wilson Contreras sitting in the 9th spot in the order for Chicago. And goes after the first pitch and singles to center field. Hurt the Brewers in that first series up at Miller Park. A 1-out single here tonight in the 8th inning. Back to the top of the order, and Albert Almora Jr. That's sharply hit, and that's through a base hit. Cubs trying to get to Barnes here after Jacob got a strikeout of Hayward to open the inning. Contreras a single, Almora a single.
Yeah, Cubs jumping on first pitches, back-to-back hitters. Cut fastballs, this one up in the zone, and Almora able to find left field with it. Not messing around. They're looking for Cutter. Almora got it, hit it hard.
Now here's Kyle Schwarber, who at the moment represents the difference in the game.
Now remember, Schwarber hit a cutter out of the ballpark. That's what Jacob Barnes likes throwing. A cutter from Chase Anderson.
Runners at first and second, one out for the left fielder Kyle Schwarber. There's a ground ball chance for two. There's Arcia, and that's room service. A 6-3 double play as Jacob Barnes pitches out of trouble. Brewers need a run to tie as we move to the ninth.
On Brewers Live, brought to you by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. The pitching duel between Kyle Hendricks and Chase Anderson, as good as advertised. Another quality start for Chase Anderson, but he is in line to take the loss as Cubs have a 1-0 lead. Kyle Schwarber going deep off of Chase Anderson, and as always, we'll get reaction from manager Craig Counsell. So the Brewers top of the order, trying to come back here in the ninth.
All right, Sophia, let's see if they can do that. They've had some comeback wins this season. See if they can get something going here against Brandon Morrow and the Chicago Cubs. Lorenzo Cain will try to get it started.
Well, these are the guys you want to have up against the Cubs closer. He's 4 for 4 in save opportunities so far this year. This guy rushes it up there pretty good, mid to upper 90s.
One-time starter, now full-time reliever. Turned a big year with the Dodgers into a sweet contract.
Yep, has yet to give up an earned run. Fastball cutter for Brandon Morrow.
1-1 pitch to Cain. Another heater is upstairs. And Happ now in left field for the Cubs. 2-1 strike to Lorenzo Cain. And he shoots one through and into right field, a base hit. That is the first hit with less than 2 outs for the Brewers tonight. So see if that gets it all started.
Finally getting their leadoff hitter aboard with the meat of the order coming up. Moore fell behind in the count 2-1, had to come right down the middle with one, and Lorenzo Cain able to hit it hard into right field. So good speed, good base runner at first base to start this 9th inning.
All right, so here we go. 5th hit of the night for Milwaukee, and here's Christian Yelich. Big cut from Yelich. Facing the veteran Brandon Morrow. He's with the Mariners, the Blue Jays, couple with the Padres, and big year out of the bullpen. 45 appearances for Los Angeles in 2017. Popping it in there in the high 90s.
You see he's going with the slide step. Contreras with a cannon behind home plate. It'd be tough to steal a base.
0-2 the count to Christian Yelich. Contreras able to block it. Cain won't take the chance.
That big block right there. The ball scoots away. Cain's in scoring position. And went with a slider down in the dirt. Good job by Contreras to keep it close.
If you're wondering, Contreras has thrown out 4 of the 9 who have tried to steal against him. Here's the 1-2. Yelich sends one foul. Brewers a 4-run winner last night and a 3-run winner on Tuesday, but they've had their share of 1-run games. See if they've got a 9th inning rally in them tonight. The 1-2. Part of Morrow's big year last year in 45 appearances with the Dodgers. He did not give up a home run. Pitch to a 206 earned run average.
Well, before this year, he had all of 18 major league saves. Most was 10 back in 08. That's a while ago.
This year out of the Dodgers, setting things up. He had a couple of saves. Strikeout guy last year, 50 punch outs in 43 2/3 innings. Morrow loads up for the 2-2, and now it's full.
Well, full count. Let's see if Lorenzo's taking off here. They got a guy at the plate that has a very good eye, even with 2 strikes, and makes pretty decent contact. Not sure.
Big moment coming up here as Morrow gets ready for the 3-2, and Yelich back up the middle. Baez one, and that's a double play. And just like that, the Brewers are down to their final out.
Yeah, Yelich hit it hard, a fastball down and away, but right at Baez, and double play, piece of cake. 3-2 pitch, borderline, had to go for it. Easy double play at first base.
So here's Ryan Braun. Hit the ball hard a couple of times tonight in the 7th inning. Baez went up and snagged a hard line drive off the bat of Braun. Little chopper here, third base side. La Stella, no play. This game continues. An infield single for Braun with 2 men out.
There you go, giving Travis Shaw a chance. Go ahead run at home plate. And Brody going after the first pitch. That ball had a little tail to it. An infield hit from Milwaukee. Boy, they've had a ton of those this year.
Really have.
That keeps the game alive.
Second hit of the night for Braun. And now Travis Shaw. Hit a walk-off at Miller Park against the Cubs last September. He's 0 for 3 tonight. A fly to center, a couple of ground balls. And at 97, Morrow gets a strike.
Yeah, put that one right on the outside corner. Travis looking for something middle in down.
Here's the 0-1. Five homers, 14 RBIs for Shaw. Braun the runner at first. Morrow with a 1-1. Now the 2-1. Shaw with a fly ball hit into left field. Ian Happ at the track. And that's the game. Shaw gave it a run. But the Cubs hang on and take the opener of this series. One heck of a pitching duel tonight here. Just one swing of the bat, the difference.
Yeah, we said it was going to be one mistake. I'm not sure you classify that pitch to Schwarber as a mistake, but cut it down and in, knocked it out of the ballpark. Really good game, good defense, but Brewers find themselves on the short hand of it.
The winning streak comes to an end as the Cubs take the opener here 1-0. Let's check out Miller Lite's what's on tap for tomorrow night. Brett Suter on the mound for the Brew Crew. Yu Darvish will go for Chicago. Day games the rest of the way. Our coverage starts tomorrow with Brewers Live at 12:30 here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Dario Melendez and Jerry Augustine are coming up next with Brewers Live. They'll recap this 1-0 Cubs win and set you up for Game 2 tomorrow. 1-0 Cubs. Brewers Live is next.